Hi everyone, it's Lauren. So a few weeks ago I ran the London Marathon, which was the first marathon I'd ever run. I did do a little vlog series going through my training journey over the months that I was training up for it, but I thought now that I've finished the event and have a bit of hindsight that I would do a quick Q&A video, because lots of people had some questions about how I approached training, like what it was like to actually run the event itself. So let's just get stuck in. I had a few questions which overlapped in nature, so I will merge my answers to those questions into kind of general topics. So the first thing that a lot of people asked me was whether I was a runner or what my training routine, my exercise routine was like before I decided to sign up for the London Marathon. And basically, I mean, I wouldn't have said I was a runner, like I'd never competed in any races before, but I have always enjoyed running as a sport because I don't really like kind of team sports. I'm kind of more of a solo girl. So I liked running because there's nobody else around and you can just do your thing. And especially when you're new to exercise, I was a little bit nervous of getting involved in classes at the gym at first. So running I thought was fine because I can just do my own thing. And we're quite lucky because we live near the River Thames. I could run on the Thames pathway, so I wouldn't have to actually run on the street where lots of people were walking or there were cars going past. And I think that was a big difference for me because I wouldn't have to think about where I was running to. I could just go to the river, run along it, and then when I wanted to come home, run back again. So I think that really helped me to get into it. Before I decided to sign up for the marathon, I had run, I think the longest I'd ever run was 10 kilometres, and that was because as a team, the people I used to work with, we decided to do this wolf run thing last year, which was basically a little bit like a Tough Mudder. It was obstacle courses over 10 kilometres. So before doing that, I did start doing a bit of a training plan, because whenever I would go for a run myself, which was ideally 3 times a week, being more realistic, maybe 1 to 2 times a week, I would only run between kind of 4 and 5 kilometres. That's as far as I'd ever got. So I did try, running a little bit more often and extending how far I could go for. So that was March 2017 that we did that. And very soon after that, I guess in April at some point, was the London Marathon last year. And I live in the centre of London, so the marathon actually goes right past where my house is. And I just found it so inspirational. I always find it inspirational because everybody in London always comes and lines the streets, and it's normally kind of a sunny day. And it's just so amazing to see so many people running past. And I was out on my roof at one point and I could just hear cheering like everywhere, and it felt like the whole city was just echoing with support and people cheering. And I just got so inspired, and I thought this is an amazing event. And I really wanted to be part of it. And it's something I've always wanted to do. I've always thought, wow, the London Marathon would be amazing. But I think off the back of running that 10k and then hearing all the cheering, I just thought, yeah, I'll do it. So I did sign up for the ballot. It's very difficult to get in off of a ballot for the London Marathon. So I went direct to some charities as well. And I did want to run for Women's Aid or for Refuge, so I applied for them directly. And basically what you do is just fill out a form, and they have a certain amount that they need to raise because I guess it's in their budget for the year that they have some people running the London Marathon. And you just have to explain yourself, like how much you run, whether you've run before, whether you've raised money before, and how you think you're going to hit their target. So they just have to trust in you that you will raise the money, I guess. Nobody actually followed up with me. No one checked to see if I'd raised the amount before I could run. I guess if I hadn't raised it, I would have just had to have given it to them. I don't really know how it would have worked. But basically they looked at my application, they called me up and then said, yeah, we're going to give you a place. And then that's when it became a bit real and it all got a bit scary. And I was like, oh, it seemed like such a good idea when I was out on my roof. So because of that, I actually had a really long lead up time to when the marathon was. So it was this April. So what's that? Oh my God, to do some quick maths, something like 9 months. I had knowledge that I was going to be doing the marathon, and most people doing the London Marathon, I think, don't find out if they're in on the ballot or, maybe are doing something for different charities. They don't find out until a little bit later. So that meant I could go running more frequently. I did not start a plan. but I did do a few things just to make myself feel a bit better. It's actually really hard for me to remember now what my fitness regime was like before I started training, because I also worked somewhere different, so I didn't go to the gym that I go to now, so my whole routine was very different. But I did used to go to fitness classes. I like bar class and general strength classes and cardio workouts, so I used to do that again maybe twice a week, probably not as often as I wanted to. And then when I moved jobs and joined this new gym, I then started doing Pilates and yoga, and generally just doing my runs at lunchtime at work, I think. So I probably, apart from running, I think I did strengthening and workout classes probably 3 to 4 times a week. Maybe that's being a bit generous, maybe it was 2 to 3, but I started kind of really doing that from about September, because that's when I joined the gym. So September, October, I started doing the strength stuff. Something that I would recommend actually is I happened to get some personal training sessions with this new gym when I joined up. So I had like 3 sessions with this guy, and that was really, really useful because he wasn't sort of working me really, really hard, but he was making me do some different exercises which helped me understand my body a little bit. So he helped me realise that one of my legs was stronger than the other, and also work out which muscle groups were weak for me. So that was like my core, and my legs are actually quite strong. My feet and my calves are quite strong, but my inner thighs specifically are not very strong at all. And it was kind of working out what my running technique was going to be and what muscle groups I needed to work on in order to improve that. So that was so useful. And I think something I've taken away from this whole training experience is that I really understand my body now in a way that I didn't before. Like, I know where my strength is and where my weaknesses are. And I think that is the most important thing, because every single person is going to run differently. Everyone's body is made up differently. So I could tell you what I was doing, but that's going to be of no help to most of you, I should think, because everyone's going to have their own weak spots that they would need to work on. But that was really, really useful. And then my main training plan, which was a running plan, I used an app for, and that was an app called Runkeeper, and it kind of looks like this. This was my marathon plan. You can see some little ticks where I've done some runs and some little crosses where I did not do them. And this was a really good app, I found. I can't remember why I chose this one and not Strava, say, but I did do some research and I read some articles where people were recommending different running apps, and I can't remember why I decided to go for this one, but I did. And it's been fine. And basically what it did was ask the date of my marathon. It said, what days of the week do you want to run, how often do you want to run, what time do you want to finish the marathon in, and then what else was it? It was kind of asking me how fast I'd run previous events before. So it was kind of making a picture of your fitness, and then it put all of these details into its little mixer and then came out with a plan for me. So for each day it would say, like, a Monday is a 5k jog, and it would give you a time to run it at as well, and then Wednesday is an 8-kilometre build up, which is a little bit faster, and the same on Thursday, and then on Sunday it would put all my long runs at the weekend. So then on this week it says that's a 12 kilometres comfortable. And I found the speed targets in here really helpful because, as I said before, when I was doing my 5Ks, when I had no plan whatsoever, I used to just run as fast as I possibly could. And I think this was much better because I'd have to do a 5K run. The first runs I ever did were at 7 minutes per kilometre, which is so slow, it's almost walking. And what that made my body used to was just like pounding the road for a really long period of time. So I wasn't getting out of breath, but my feet and like my legs and my bones and all my tendons, everything was kind of getting used to that repetitive motion. And it was really helpful actually how it built you up. I'm waffling a little bit now, so I'm going to try and lead this back to some questions. So some people were asking me, did I get any special equipment to help me with the training? And I did, I guess. Not a great deal of equipment. I did get some special shoes fitted. And what I did was just go into a running shop. I went to Sweatshop, and I'm sure they do this in lots of different sports shops. And I had a gait analysis thing where I ran on a treadmill and they filmed my feet and saw that I was overpronating, which means when my foot goes down, I can't do it with my wrists, can I? But I was kind of going in like this. I don't know, my feet were turning inwards. So I tried on a bunch of different supportive shoes. I also got some insoles made where they moulded the insoles to my feet. And this was all fairly expensive. And And I think the jury's out on whether these shoes really, really help, because when I spoke to my personal trainer, he was of the opinion that if you have shoes which correct how you're running, then your muscles in your body aren't going to correct themselves. So I don't know where I sit really in the argument of having specially prescribed shoes and training your body to not need them, but I did suffer from shin splints as I was training, and I've always suffered from shin splints, and when I got the proper shoes, the shin splints went away. Because halfway through my training, when my first pair of trainers started to wear out, I got shin splints again, and I thought, oh no, maybe it's because I'm adding distance. But as soon as I replaced that pair of shoes, they went. And from getting my most recent pair to doing the marathon, like all of the distance that I've been running since then, I have not had shin splints once. So for me personally, those shoes solved my problem. But there's lots of different reasons why people get shin splints, and there's different reasons why people overpronate as well. Something else that I found was that my calves were very tight, so I learnt some different stretching, and for me it was the outside of my calf. So I did a stretch where I have my leg up and kind of stretch it across my body like that. And that really helped to loosen the outside of my calf. I also used some equipment, so I got these little balls. I used a tennis ball at first, and then as I got more used to it, I got some harder, more knobbly balls, and I used these for kneading out the knots in my muscles. And I really felt like using these helped to kind of smooth out and relax the muscles in my calves, because it's very difficult to roll out your calves, I find, without something like this. I do have this big foam roller as well, which I used for like my IT band and my quads. And this is fine. This is like the cheapest kind of foam roller you can get, but it does the job. I also had one for my feet. Oh, here it is. My dad got me this as a present when he first found out that I was doing the London Marathon, and this was really good as well, just for rolling out the arches of your feet. But that's the only equipment I got really to help with the training. Also had some questions on whether I changed my diet while I was training, and also what I ate while I was running. So what I ate while I was running is easy. I had a pack of wine gums, and I loved using those. I never really wanted to try gels because they just kind of creep me out, and I don't really like the idea of like sucking on something while you're running. I don't know. But I really liked wine gums because you can just sort of hold them in your mouth, and yeah, you have to practice using them. Like at first, the idea of eating or drinking while running, I was just like, I'm not sure about that at all. But I practiced carrying Lucozade with me, which at first I hated because you're sort of, it's just so annoying to carry a bottle. But I am so pleased that I trained holding a bottle, because on the actual day it was so hot, and there were lots of water stations, and the little water bottles they gave out were quite small, so you could kind of drink those, chuck it on your head, whatever, and then throw it away. But there were 3 Lucozade stations, and they gave out quite big bottles of Lucozade, and a lot of the time I saw people who had like drunk a little bit of their Lucozade and just chucked it on the floor, and I could see these like half full bottles, and I was just like, this is like the nectar of heaven. Like, what are you doing? Like, you need this to like power you through. And I drank all of my Lucozade. And I don't know what everyone else's race day plan was, obviously. But for me, I found that I was drinking my liquids, like whether it was water or Lucozade, I found that because I was so used to running while holding something, I'd kind of drink it slowly. And by the time I'd finish, I'd be at another station. So I never at any point was like, oh, I wish I had water. Whenever I started feeling like that, it would just be at the point where I could get some more. So I felt that was really great. And the only other specialty run thing I tried were these Power Bar gel shots, which someone at work recommended because these have like the carbs and the sugar in, but apparently they also have a shot of caffeine in them as well. And I mean, I don't know that I really felt that I was getting caffeine from these more than I was getting anything from wine gums, to be fair. It's hard to remember. I think psychologically I really liked knowing that there was caffeine in these. So, and they're fine to eat. I'd love to say that I changed my diet massively while I was training and I got really strong, but I didn't really. I basically ate quite normally. I did have an issue with my stomach at one point where the doctor put me on a bit of a restricted diet. So I was going to try and have a real marathon focused diet, but at the end of the day I kind of couldn't do that because what I was allowed to eat was such a limited number of things. So I just kind of went with it in the end and tried to be healthy and make sure I was eating a good amount, but I didn't really change what I eat. But I did have to develop a bit of a meal plan when it came to eating the night before and the morning of really long races. So I would have oats and bananas and yogurt for my breakfast in the morning, and that was great. I loved that. And I also had rice and baked potatoes the evening before, and so I didn't have very much protein. It was very carb heavy, but also very natural carbs, so not like pasta. I prefer things like rice and potatoes. And so I just made little meals around that. But a lot of the advice that you get is to find something that works for you and not to go mental with the amount you eat. And so yeah, it was fine. It wasn't really that different. And then the last question that came up a lot was whether I am going to keep running and whether I would do another marathon. And to be honest, yeah, I'm going to keep running. I've got to a point now where I really like it, but it's only because psychologically I know I can do it. So it just doesn't seem that daunting to me anymore. I think the best thing was that my training plan built me up so slowly. And I will say, like, if you're someone who's never ever ran before at all, if you were going to do like a couch to 5k kind of training thing, I think that is the most difficult bit. So before I ever ran, even doing like 2 to 3 kilometers, I was just like, and it was horrible. And then once you get to a point where you can run and not get out of breath like immediately, you can kind of settle into a rhythm, and then it's just adding distance. So it was hard. It wasn't kind of as mentally grueling and like really, really difficult to build up the distance as I thought it was going to be. I ran between 3 and 4 times a week, and a lot of those were quite short runs, which were quite fast. And then the longer runs were slow, so you were just kind of jogging. So even though you were going further than you'd ever ran before, you kind of were like, oh, but that's fine because I can do it really slowly. So then you'd get to, oh, I just did 12 kilometres. And then you do that for a couple of weeks, and then it'd be like, oh, now I've just done 16. And then in my head I was like, oh, well, I've done 16 and a half marathon's only 20. So it just, in your head you just know, oh, I can go slowly and I can achieve this. So now that I know that I could do a whole marathon, just going for like a 5k, a 10k run, like to me now that is like a short run, that's like nothing. So I need to build myself back into it because my body's a little bit broken. But my training plan does have a few weeks of slow runs after the event, so I'm gonna get back into it, I think. I would do another marathon, which is hilarious because while I was running it, I was like, what am I doing? I'm never gonna do another marathon. But it was just so intense and so hot and horrible. That now I'm like, oh, well, you know, if I managed to do it in that heat, what would it be like if it was a normal day? Like maybe I'd do even better. So I do think I would do another one. I don't know that I'd do the London Marathon again, just because it's so difficult to just enter, and you have to enter by going through a charity, really. And I would just feel so bad every year asking people to sponsor me. Like, you can't keep going back to the same people, your friends and family, and be like, hey, give me some more money. So I maybe wouldn't do that again, but there are all the different world majors. So there's like the Berlin Marathon and the New York Marathon, the Boston Marathon would be really cool. What's the other one? Chicago and Tokyo. I think those are the others. So part of me now is like, ooh, 1 down, 5 to go. I hope that's answered everyone's questions. I said this was going to be quick, and I've literally been talking for such a long time. So I hope that was interesting. If there's anything else you wanted to ask me or any question that I didn't get to in this video, then leave your comments below and we can have a little bit of a discussion and a chat down there. And if anyone else has any tips, anyone else who's been a marathon runner before, you know, let's open up a bit of a discussion. I'm not sure whether I'll keep doing videos on this topic. I will definitely run myself. Whether I'll do any more videos around training or anything like that, it kind of remains to be seen. Depends how much I get into it, I guess. Because I'm still very much a novice and learning how to do it myself, really. But we'll see. And I'll have a chat to you downstairs anyway, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!